Once upon a time, there was a king who had a magical apple tree in his garden. On the first day, it would bloom with flowers. On the second day, the flowers would fall, and on the third day, ripe apples would appear. Anyone who ate one of these apples would become a 15-year-old boy immediately. Every morning, the king would wake up at dawn and rush to the garden, eager to pick an apple and eat it himself. But each time, he found that the apples had already been taken, and he would return home disappointed. One day, after several days of this, the king called his eldest son. The prince bowed politely and asked, "Father, what would you have me do?" The king replied, "Is this right? I, the king, remain longing for my own apples while someone steals them from my garden? You must find the thief and teach them a lesson." The eldest son kissed his father's hand, put on his hunting clothes, and took his bow and arrows to the garden. He waited for an hour, then 2, until the time when the apples were ripe, but sleep overcame him. When he woke, the apples had been taken again. He returned home disappointed. The next day, the king sent his middle son in the same manner. He too waited, fell asleep, and found the apples gone by morning. He came back empty-handed and sad. Finally, the king's youngest son, Malik Mammad, approached his father with respect. "Father, please allow me to watch over the apple tree this time," he said. The king hesitated. "Your older brothers could not catch the thief. What makes you think you can?" Malik Mammad persisted, and the king reluctantly agreed. He dressed swiftly, took his bow and arrows, and went to the garden at sunset. Like his brothers, he waited and eventually felt sleep approaching. But he had a clever idea. He took out his dagger, pricked his finger, and sprinkled salt on the wound. All night, the pain kept him awake. On the dawn, he heard a rumble and a deep roar. Hiding behind the tree, he saw a giant demon, taller than a tower, approaching the apple tree. Malik Mammad bit his finger in pain and realized, this is the one stealing the apples. As the demon reached the tree, Malik Mammad struck its head with his sword so forcefully that it broke into 2 pieces and fell to the ground. The demon ran away screaming in agony. The next morning, Malik Mammad collected the apples and placed them in a basket. He covered them and presented them to his father. The king was overjoyed. "I want to follow the demon's trail and defeat it," Malik Mammad said. The king agreed and provided some soldiers, joining Malik Mammad and his brothers. Following the trail of blood, they discovered a well into which the demon had disappeared. a large millstone blocked the entrance. The elder brothers tried to move it, but could not. When Malik Mammad tried, he lifted it with ease. He prepared to descend into the well. Each of his older brothers was lowered first, but cried out in pain and were pulled back. When it was Malik Mammad's turn, he warned them, "Do not listen to any cries I make." As he descended, he felt the heat subside and soon discovered a passage leading forward. Malik Mammad moved carefully through the passage and eventually entered the first chamber. Inside, he found another door, which he opened to reveal a second room. This room also had a door, leading to a third, and so on. By the seventh door, he entered a room where a delicate princess sat on a throne, eating, drinking, knitting, and admiring flowers. A demon rested its head on her lap, sleeping. The princess noticed Malik Mammad and said, "Young man, who are you? Run and hide. The demon is awake and will not spare you." Malik Mammad replied, "I have come to defeat this demon." He drew his dagger and began stabbing the demon's foot. The demon cried, "Stop! A fly is biting my foot." Malik Mammad continued. On the third attempt, the demon sprang up and slapped the girl, shouting, "I told you, it's not a fly biting my foot." Malik Mammad left and grappled with the demon. They wrestled for 40 days and nights without either gaining the upper hand. Finally, exhausted, the demon said, "Give me a little time to rest and we can continue." Malik Mammad agreed. After they resumed, they battled for another 7 days and nights. Then the princess said, "On the throne is a glass containing the demon's life. If you do not break it, he will never be defeated." Malik Mammad smashed the glass, catching the escaping bird before it could fly away. The demon, seeing its life destroyed, fell dead with a crash. Malik Mammad rested his head on the princess's lap, then moved on to the next room. There, he saw another beautiful girl with a demon on her lap. She warned him, "Young man, run! This demon will devour you." Malik Mammad reassured her, "Do not worry, I will defeat it." He fought the demon the same way, stabbing its foot, and after 40 days and nights of wrestling, destroyed its life in a glass. Again, he rested on the girl's lap. Finally, he reached the third room, where an even more beautiful princess sat. Malik Mammad fell in love at first sight, and the girl's eyes met his. She pleaded, "Young man, run! A demon is coming." a massive demon appeared, and they fought for 40 days and nights. The demon's life was hidden in a glass. Malik Mammad broke it, capturing the bird, and the demon collapsed dead. Afterward, Malik Mammad rested his head on the girl's lap. He gathered all 3 princesses and prepared to leave through the well. Following the instructions of the youngest princess, he tied her with the rope first so she could be lifted safely. As they began, his older brothers, jealous that the youngest princess would go with Malik Mammad, cut the rope. Malik Mammad fell to the bottom of the well. In the well, he waited patiently. Soon, 2 rams arrived as she had instructed, 1 white, 1 black. The rams battled, and Malik Mammad jumped onto the white ram, which tossed him onto the black ram, which carried him through the dark world. Along the way, he rested under a tree and saw a dragon climbing to attack the nest of a Zimrud bird. Malik Mammad drew his sword, splitting the dragon into 2, and then slept at the base of the tree. The Zimrud bird returned, realized Malik Mammad had saved its chicks, and spoke. "Do not be afraid. I will not harm you. What do you wish in return?" Malik Mammad said, "Nothing but to return to the world of light." The bird instructed him to gather 40 measures of meat and 40 measures of water from a distant kingdom, then provided its magical feather to carry him back to the world of light. Malik Mammad set out with the Zumrud bird, carrying the 40 measures of meat and 40 measures of water on its wings. They flew high above the dark world, gradually approaching the world of light. Malik Mammad looked down and saw the land shrinking beneath him. When only 1 measure of meat remained, he accidentally dropped it. Thinking quickly, he cut a piece from his own thigh and threw it down to replace it. The Zumrud bird, realizing the sacrifice, carefully patched his wound using its magical feather and told him, "If you ever get into trouble, burn these feathers, and I will come to rescue you immediately." Malik Mammad eventually arrived at a tailor shop. He asked the tailor, "Please, master, will you let me stay as your apprentice?" The tailor took pity on him and agreed. Malik Mammad helped with repairs and learned from the master. One day, the tailor was called to the palace to make garments for the eldest prince's wedding. Malik Mammad stayed behind, closed the shop, and burned a feather. The Zumrud bird appeared instantly and provided him with the sets of golden clothes, a sword, a shield, and a yellow horse. Malik Mammad dressed, mounted the horse, and galloped to the palace. The city and the army gathered to watch the prince's race. Malik Mammad rode boldly, striking down the eldest prince with his sword during the competition. Chaos erupted as the army tried to chase him, but he disappeared like the wind. He returned to the tailor shop, pretending nothing had happened. Soon after, the middle prince's wedding came, and Malik Mammad repeated the same feat. The city mourned in black once again. Time passed. The tailor and his apprentice were at the shop when Malik Mammad asked him to deliver a message to the king. He had found the youngest prince. The tailor hurried to the palace, and Malik Mammad's story was revealed. The king rejoiced, embracing his son, dressing him in princely attire, and bringing him back into his service. The eldest princess was married to the vizier's son, the middle to the lawyer's son, and the youngest to Malik Mammad. For 40 days and nights, they celebrated the weddings with feasts and music. As the story concludes, 3 apples fell from the sky, 1 for me, 1 for you, and 1 for the storyteller.